Ready, everybody?
The Bevo Blitz.
He was scared, I saw him.
Part of Austin's best Longhorns coverage.
You are by far my favorite, man.
Now here they are.
I love you.
TSTV's very own Mark Skoll Jr.
Winning is hard.
And the Daily Texans' Matthew Adams.
Texas forever.
What a game that was, Matt. 29-24. Oklahoma beats Texas in the Red River Showdown. I mean, I know Texas lost, but that was just an awesome, awesome game. Texas was down 20-0 at one point. Came back, takes the lead. They did lose 29-24, but man, that was a special game.
It was special, but there have been plenty of better games in this rivalry. Let's not get carried away just yet, Mark.
That's true. They are 1-3. Texas is 1-3 when we are students. But thankfully, that's the last time we'll ever see Texas lose as a student to Oklahoma. So
true. Very true.
It's over. But Matt, what's your biggest takeaway from that game? I mean, a lot of stuff to take away. Defense was amazing. Sam Ehlinger was great. But what's your biggest takeaway?
Yeah, I'll spotlight on the defense because, I mean, Sam Ehlinger, he's the obvious answer. The defense looked bad. I mean, yes, they held Oklahoma to 9 points in the second half, but when you give up at one point 20-0, I mean, if that had been a different Oklahoma squad, they're putting their foot on Texas's throat and ending it right then and there. And they did it. And, you know, to Texas' credit, you know, the offense managed to get the team back in it. But the defense, you know, we saw the big plays against Kansas State, and it just continued. And, I mean, that first half, Baker and that offense, they were doing anything and everything they wanted. And for Texas going forward, I mean, you can't afford to do that.
Yeah, the defense, it seemed like at times Malik Jefferson and Brecken Hager had their hands, had everything around Baker Mayfield, but somehow he escaped. But I mean, that's what happens when you're going against the best player in the country.
I mean, Baker, I mean, when you're going up against Baker Mayfield, you know there's just going to be a lot of things that get out of your, you know, they're just out of your hands. I mean, he truly is kind of a Houdini out there and just makes anything and everything happen. But, like, I mean, the point about Brecken Hager, you get hit in the hands where you're supposed to get it.
That was terrible. That's why he plays defense. That was horrible.
Yeah. I mean you already had the stop from John Bonney, which was a great pickoff. And then Baker, I mean, it was like the year before, you know, when he threw it right to Dylan Haynes. Yeah, at least Dylan caught it.
If Dylan Haynes was there, he would have definitely
if Dylan had been back there, you know, I guess they should have sent out like a red flag saying, we need Dylan. That'd be a signal for him to get back in there. But yeah, that Brecken moment, and I mean, that's not the only thing that hurt Texas, but I mean, that was one of those moments where you could have killed that Oklahoma drive.
You could have put an end to.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's the whole Lake Travis-Westlake rivalry, too. Brecken Hager went to Westlake. Baker Mayfield went to Lake Travis. Like, that could have been some trash talk in there, and he blew it. He blew it. But, all right, Matt, enough about the defense. The biggest thing of this game was Sam Ehlinger. What a performance he put on the field.
It was unbelievable.
But the question I want to go to you is, you were at the game. You didn't see the broadcast, the ESPN broadcast, but Sam Ehlinger, he runs for a nice gain and is tackled out of bounds, and his head hits the ground pretty hard. And from the TV angle, I'm not sure if you went back and saw it, but you could see his eyes rolling in the back of his head, and he looked knocked out. Like he was – it seemed like he was like literally like he had died on the field. Like it was that bad. What did you see on the field? Like what did you think? And do you think it was the right decision to put Sam back in the game?
So where I was when I saw it, when he went out, my immediate reaction was, okay, is it an arm? You know, is it a shoulder? Is it a wrist? You know, he dealt with all the wrist problems last year. And then when he was just laying there, that was the first, you're like, okay, obviously head or something more serious than that. But as much as I want to, you know, say, you know, you probably should have kept Sam out, you weren't going to be able to. I mean, he was going to figure out and find a way to get back into that game, whether the team, fans, family liked it or not, he was going to get back in there and try to win the ball game for Texas. I mean, he had all the momentum in that game. Let's be real. I mean, if
he doesn't go out at all, I think Texas
Yeah,
wins.
he does, because that was the reaction where I was in the stadium, was that even when Mark Andrews got that quick score, everyone was like, sweet, Sam gets the ball back. Let's go score here. How about that, Oklahoma? That was the mentality that fans, and I think most Texas people in the stadium had, was they were like, Texas, they got this now. Because, I mean, just the sheer will of Sam. I mean, that drive on Chris Warren's touchdown. I mean, Sam himself ran the ball well, but he did it once again, hand off to Chris, then push him in for a couple of yards to get the touchdown. I mean, he does anything and everything
possible for Texas to win. He was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But I want to get to this real quick.
Yeah.
Sam had this to say on his injury after the game on why he was able to go back into the game.
I wasn't ever confused where I was at all. It was a hard hit. My head hit the ground pretty hard, and they were just taking precaution. I told them immediately I could go back in. I felt fine. They just took me into the tent to make sure everything was okay, go through the protocol, and send me back out there.
I mean, that's a great mentality to have, but he also has to think about his future. The whole CTE thing is a big thing in football right now, and he was like legit knocked out on the sideline. He did not look good at all. I read some tweet somewhere that he went into the tent, and he was counting down from 100, got to 93, and he's like, all right, screw it. Let me go back in.
Right.
I mean, that's a great mentality to have for a football player, I guess. But like, you got to think about your future too. But I don't know. That was tough.
I and again, when Shane got in there,
the
life was sucked out.
It was depleted.
Out.
Yeah.
I mean,
and you could tell from not just the fans, but from the players too.
Yeah.
Like they were.
And you could also, not only did you see it across the team, but you could sense it in Shane and the way he was dropping back. I mean, some of those, 3-5-step dropbacks he had were some of the most awkward things I've ever watched. It was pretty painful, honestly. But, I think, maybe looking back on it, Herman probably should have just kept Shane in there. But from the competitor standpoint, you have to go with Sam because he's
wanted this his entire life.
Yeah.
We've said this so many times, and you can tell after the game when Sam's walking into the tunnel and everyone's chanting, Texas sucks, Texas sucks. Sam's getting the horns up and he's going crazy.
When Sam got back in the game, everybody, like in the student section, was chanting, Sam's back. And he immediately looks over, points, and is nodding like, I'm back, baby. I mean, that's just the mentality he has, and that's something that this Texas team just hasn't had in a while. So I understand where Herman was coming from, but at the same time, from a health perspective, I mean, having seen just from my own high school players deal with concussion problems, you don't want to go that route. But
and then that could have sparked a QB debate as well. But this is what Herman had to say after the game about whether or not Sam has earned the right to be the starting quarterback.
I would think so at this point, but I don't know. We got to go. Sam's got to practice really good, and we got to see when that occurs that Shane is 100%. Oh, he showed me all he needed to show me in Los Angeles. He's a tough dude. He doesn't get rattled. He's competitive as all get out, and there was no. He didn't need to show me anything in this game. I've seen, everything I need to see from Sam Ehlinger.
I think it's obvious now. Herman obviously knows it. He's been playing the Shane card a lot lately, and he just can't play it anymore. It's Sam's team, and it's undeniable how much better they play when he's on the field. I mean, if you look at his stats,
it is.
Nothing incredibly great. He was under 50% completion percentage, 19 of 39, 278 yards, but he did rush for 122 yards, actually 106 yards, but 122 minus 16 with the loss.
Right.
But he adds a component to your team that not a lot of other people can. And I think that he he's going to be if he stays here 4 years, if he doesn't leave for the NFL early, I think this guy's going to be. I'm not going to say he's as good as Colt McCoy. I'm not going to say he's as good as Vince Young, but he's going to be right up there with him.
He's definitely the closest quarterback that we've seen probably compete at that level. I mean, he already has, he has back-to-back 100-yard rushing games. I mean, other than Vince Young at 10, I mean, most of the other rushing quarterback leaders, who had 100 games only had 3 or 4. It's like, I don't know where Sam goes from there on that list. But I think if he stays, he's definitely putting Texas and himself in a position for national prominence again.
No, I definitely think so. I mean, we've seen the comparisons to Tim Tebow because he's got he's big, he's able to run over people. But I want to ask you this, Matt. Do you see him becoming like a Baker Mayfield type, as in like one of the best players in the country? He's all big trash talker, which we've seen him do in the past. Do you see him becoming that kind of level of national prominence?
I think national prominence, yes. I don't see Baker Mayfield level from like the trash talking standpoint. Yeah, Sam talks trash, but he's nothing like Baker. I mean, if he did some of the things Baker did,
I mean, like nothing off like all that Fayetteville stuff.
Right. But like in terms of like spiking a flag at midfield or just any other shenanigans of Baker, no, because the Texas fans and boosters are not going to put up with that.
That's true.
But I do think that Sam over the next few years could put himself in the prominent spotlight, because at this point, I mean, you look at the Big 12 right now, and Oklahoma's going to have to refigure out their quarterback after Baker's gone. Yeah. Same with Mason Rudolph. Will Greer at West Virginia, they're going to do the same thing.
This conference should be Texas to lose.
And there's really not a lot of other quarterbacks out there. I mean, I know there's Jalen Hurts and Trace McSorley, but like those guys are already a year older than Sam.
I mean, Jake Fromm, he doesn't throw the ball that much with Georgia, but he's still like. I mean,
he's still going to be up there. I mean, as long as Georgia.
Are they number 3 right now? I think.
Yes.
Number 3.
Number 3, still
Penn
undefeated.
State.
Yeah, behind Penn State. I mean, I will give it to Jake Fromm. I mean, he's definitely the quarterback that Georgia has been wanting for some time. And it shows right now.
He's got the same kind of passion and energy that Sam brings to the game. Both guys had both wanted to play for their respective schools for their entire lives, and now they're finally there, and they're making the most of every opportunity. And I just love to see that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
All right. I want to get into Sam. Sam, like we said, always a big Longhorn fan, not ever a big OU fan, and this is what he had to say about playing in the Red River Showdown.
It was incredible. Obviously, we would like to get the win. Been dreaming about this for a long time, and the atmosphere was incredible. The atmosphere was incredible. Losing the game is not incredible. I'm looking forward to the next 3 years.
Excited for 3 more years of this. So, Matt, I guess he is staying for 4 years, but, man, this is a guy who recruits love to see. This is a guy that teams rally around. I mean, when we talked about last week on the podcast that the defense seems to play better when Sam's in the game. They feed off of Sam. And I think that's definitely the case.
Oh, for sure. I mean, as soon as Texas got that first touchdown, I mean, the very next series, there's John Bonney jumping the route.
And when did we ever see John Bonney doing that?
I can't remember the last time, actually, to be quite honest. So, yeah, I mean, it was a rare moment. And, I mean, yes, it would have been obviously nice if Texas had gotten the touchdown instead of the field goal, but at least they went into the half having scored 10 points. That was certainly a lot better than most fans were thinking, because at 20-0, I think most people were like, God, when is it going to get to 30 and 40?
Yeah. But Texas comes back. They do not come back with Shane Buechele.
No, they don't.
Last year or this year.
No, not at all. And one of the things, and I will say this, the one moment that really stood out to me that things seem to be turning the corner is the hit on Baker. The ball comes loose, and Malcolm Roach takes it thinking, oh, still a live ball.
Yeah.
And just that little brawl afterwards. OU's done that plenty of times before, and that gets their fan base hyped up. But the fact that Texas jumped in there, did it first, and the Texas fans were the ones firing back, I can't recall a time that certainly has been a long time, probably, going back to the really great years of Mac Brown, but we would have never seen that with Charlie Strong. We wouldn't have seen that team
not at all.
go out there. I mean, there were fans after the game
Herman
that were about to leave early, and people were blocking the aisles saying, you stay until they sing. And those two things, it's like, okay, yes, Texas is 3-3, but man, this program.
Oh, it's in the right direction.
Yeah.
I mean, they might be one of the best 3-3 teams in the country because every single game, besides the Maryland game, I mean, I guess the Maryland game was close, but I feel like every game has been Texas is for the taking. They could easily be 5-1 right now.
Easily, yeah, because that Maryland game, yes, the score said they lost by 10, but that score doesn't reflect
close.
it. No.
It was not close at all. But the Tech, because they got the garbage time touchdown to Colin Johnson down the stretch, but. Yeah, USC very close. Oklahoma very close. Yeah. It's they're right there. They're right there, and I think next year is the year they take the step. Ricky Williams said on LHN that Texas, this was the last lesson for Texas, and now he thinks that they're going to start rolling. They could run the table the rest of the way. I'm not sure about that.
I'm not. Yeah,
I'm not going to go that far, but I still think. Next year, they're going to be really, really good.
They do have a favorable stretch here, but there are a couple of games still where it's like you just don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. And then one thing we don't know about, too, is the running back situation. It's been terrible. Only 17 yards for the running backs against Oklahoma. And this is what Herman had to say after the game about the team's running game.
We were a bit stubborn in the run game, and that's my fault. I was trying to keep our defense off the field. They had played the time of possession and number of plays and total offense in the first quarter was completely lopsided. And then we realized it's not who we are. That's not how we're going to be able to move the ball. And so obviously we started throwing it a little bit more and mixing in some different formations and found a little bit of a rhythm there.
The running game, it's been terrible. And you got a guy like Chris Warren who's just been shown so many dominant efforts against Tech, against San Jose State, against Oklahoma State before he got injured last year. Mm-hmm. He's shown that he can be a great running back, but he's just not doing it. Is it the running back's fault? Is it the offensive line's fault? Or is it the play calling?
I mean, sadly, it's a combination of all three. I mean, last year when Chris Warren went out, that was the greatest thing for Deontay Foreman.
Oh, yeah.
Because Deontay would not have had that kind of a rushing season that he had because they were both on pace to be 1,000-yard rushers if they kept up at that pace. So, and I don't, there again, Chris Warren just seems like he is out of it. He's not happy. He gives off this vibe that, I'm in the doghouse right now. And in some ways, instead of trying to showcase, hey, I can do this, it's almost like he's just buying into it. I mean, yeah, he gets a few runs every game. I mean, his last 2 touchdowns he scored, he's gotten very lucky because people have pushed him into the end zone. But, he's not there. And really, you really can't open up the run game with either Kyle Porter or Tennille Carter right now. No. Carter's a good back as a freshman, but he's not.
Carter's solid, but Porter should. I mean, he did have that good kick return against Oklahoma that really sparked a nice drive.
And he had the first touchdown, the touchdown pass from Ellinger. But past that, I mean, there's not a whole lot
there. Not a whole lot there. And we've seen Chris Warren. The thing is, we know how good he can be.
And that's, I think, what makes it that much more frustrating.
So you think it's a mental thing with Chris Warren right now, just that he's thinking that he's not?
I think it is. I mean, what is it? There are plenty of games here where he's had more catches than he's had carries, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, the numbers and the play
has
call
had
selections
touchdowns.
don't match up.
He did have a touchdown against Kansas State, Iowa State. He should have had one against USC if they decided to run it with him down the end. But he's had touchdowns. He didn't have one
he's
against
got
Oklahoma,
5 on the season.
but he needs to have.
he had the one against Oklahoma, the push. But
Oh yeah, the push. Yeah,
he's
so
had that
he's
San
had a bunch
Jose
of
State.
rushing-
Yeah, the only game he didn't have any score in, I think, was Maryland.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's getting the touchdowns.
Yeah.
He's just not getting the rushing yards. And
yeah.
touchdowns are great, obviously, but
Right.
you need to get the rushing game going. And Herman doesn't even sound like
Right.
they're even moving in that direction now.
No, and that's a concerning thing for the offense because it's almost like they're now at the point where they're solely relying on Sam to run the football. And yeah,
I think
cool.
Sam is the offense.
He is the offense, but you give him back-to-back 20 carry games. Herman talked about it yesterday. Sam's got to sit back there and throw and not just immediately start running. And it's like, well, number one, that's how the pass plays are right now. It's very much just kind of backyard football. Let me roll around back here and let me see what I can do. And that works fine, but that also extends and exudes so much energy that, you hope to keep later on down the line. And yeah, Sam can't keep taking those hits every time he runs the ball. It's fun to watch as a fan or a spectator, but from a realistic standpoint, you just can't keep it up.
Yeah, and you have to give credit to Herman for trying to get the running game to work. It just hasn't worked.
Yeah, it hasn't been working. And I don't know how much it's going to be able to work this season. You look at the offensive line, and man,
yeah, it's tough. You got
it's very
basically
inexperienced.
Two freshmen on the outside.
Yeah,
Okafor and Kerstetter. It's tough. It's tough to get a run game going. All right, enough of Oklahoma. It was a tough loss, but the future is definitely bright for Texas. Okay, we got OK State this weekend in town, 11 a.m. It's gonna be a tough one. OK State's definitely not a team that you can overlook, but they're definitely a team that can be beaten.
Oh, they are. Some of these players, they're going to remember 2015 when Oklahoma State came in here.
Yeah, that was the Michael Dixon game.
It was another game that season Texas should have won.
Yeah, and that was when Michael Dixon wasn't the best player on the field.
That's the crazy part about Dixon, his progression, because you watched him in that game, you're like,
who is this guy? Go on to the next punter. Basically, how we are with the Texas kicker situation.
Basically, yeah. That was one of Mason Rudolph's, if I remember correctly, one of his very first starts as a college quarterback. Yeah. And of course, he's come a long, long way since that game. So it's going to be tough because, Mason Rudolph's going to be wanting to find James Washington as much as possible. But, they also have a good running game with Justice Hill. He's not a big back, but he's shifty. He gets a lot of yards when he's in the open field. And if they take advantage of big plays like Oklahoma did, I don't see Gundy letting up.
All right, so you named 3 guys right there. So which one's the main player to watch for you, would you say, this OK State team?
Well, the main one's James Washington for sure. Right now, he's got over 800 yards on the season.
882, 6 receiving touchdowns.
Yeah.
So, he might be the best receiver in the country.
He probably is. He's definitely, if he had come out for the draft last year, you would have had a lot of teams oohing and ahhing for him. But the fact that he came back, his stats are just going to be that much gaudier. He's one of those guys where, there are some receivers where you just say, oh, they're only a deep threat, or, they've only got limited, they're limited in certain capacities. But you look at James Washington and, there's not a whole lot of weakness with him. It's just as long as you can get the ball in his vicinity, you're good.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
It's really just a joy to just watch that guy.
And he's deceptive too, because you look at him size wise and you think he doesn't have that kind of speed, but he breaks loose. you hit him. I mean, if you don't wrap him up, I mean, he's gonna go over you. So, and I mean, again, we saw big plays, big passing plays against Kansas State.
Yeah.
Not a team that likes to pass that much.
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough.
You expected that against Oklahoma for obvious reasons, but I mean, yeah, this one's gonna be probably a nail biter, and that Oklahoma State defense.
It's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough.
Tough.
My player to watch is Mason Rudolph, Heisman candidate. Probably
Yeah.
not going to win the Heisman, but a great quarterback. Thrown 19 touchdowns on the season, and get this, and the least amount of passing yards he's thrown in a game, 303.
Yeah.
So that's been his worst performance,
Yeah.
which is just amazing. His most 497 against Pitt at Pitt. So
Yeah.
this is a guy who he's going to be slinging the rock.
I mean,
At DKR.
I think the statistic was certainly in the Big 12, but I think the Oklahoma State offense is like the top yardage team in the country with over 400 passing, over 200 rushing. I think they're averaging like 611 total yards per game.
It's two straight weeks Texas has gone against two of the top teams in the country in terms of offense. It's really incredible what Texas has to go through, but it's definitely going to be a good test.
Yeah.
All right, Matt. We got to move on to bold predictions. We've been 0 for on all of our bold predictions so far. What was yours last week?
Mine was Baker Mayfield would be held to under 300 yards of total offense.
300 yards of total offense. Well, he threw for 302, so you're
I was already off
You're
there,
already
and I
off
think he
there.
added another 40 rushing, so he
Yep.
just had to add insult to injury at that point.
It was close though. All right, so he had 27 total yards rushing. So that's around 329 yards. So
Okay.
you're close. You're close.
I'm closer than I thought, but still wrong.
Still wrong. I was way off. I said Reggie Hempel Maps would have a big game, 150 yards
Ooh.
receiving. He only had 42, so I was way off. Wow. Way off. So another week.
I mean, you were just drinking the Kool-Aid from K-State.
Oh
That's
yeah.
all.
Yep. So I don't. Another bold prediction. I'm sure my bold prediction will be wrong this week. But Matt, what's your bold prediction
God.
for this week?
Oh, God. Oh, man. Well, why not stick with quarterbacks here?
All right, let's hear it.
I'm going to still ride with it. Mason Rudolph, 300 passing.
300 or less.
No, I'm going to stick with a 300 even.
He's going to get exactly 300 yards.
Well, I mean, it's passing. I mean, he doesn't run too many times, so I don't have to worry too much about his total yardage. So I'm just focusing on the passing game right now.
Okay, 300 yards from Rudolph. Okay, that's pretty bold considering
He's averaging 400 basically.
Yeah, so that's bold. I'm gonna go really bold. I'm probably gonna be way off on this.
Oh.
Texas is gonna have a running back this game
Oh God.
with over 100 yards.
Not named Sam Ellinger.
Not named Sam Ellinger.
Okay.
I don't know. OK State's defense is not that good. They've given up a lot of points to a lot of teams, and I feel like if this is the week something gets going,
Yeah, I think that
I feel like this is the time.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people will point to, well, look what TCU did with their three-headed running game. Well, yeah, all three of those running backs fit that system perfectly. Texas is not in a position really to do that. But then again, I mean, Chris Warren knows how to run against Oklahoma State. He's seen it
done
before.
it before.
So, I mean, yeah.
100 yards.
All right.
It doesn't seem like that. Like if I said this at the beginning of the season, I'd be like, "Oh, that's a dumb prediction." But
halfway
at this
through,
point,
oh yeah,
halfway through right now, after only getting 17 rushing yards combined with the
Yeah.
three running backs,
Yeah.
it'll be interesting. I'll probably be wrong again.
And
You'll
I'll
probably
probably be wrong
again too.
So why not keep our streak?
You gotta keep the streak going. All right, game predictions. What's your final score for the Texas OK State game? Here, I'll go first on this
Yeah,
one.
I'll let you go first.
I'm going 42-28 OK State. I don't think Texas
Ooh.
gets it done.
Ooh.
It's now Texas is OK State is favored by a touchdown. So I'll say
Yeah.
42-28. I just don't think Texas can stop that offense, and I don't think, even though I don't know. I don't even know if their offense is better than Oklahoma's, but I just don't think Texas is. I just don't think Texas can keep up.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard to say whether OU or OSU's is better because the styles are.
I feel
so
like
different.
OU has a better quarterback, not by a whole lot, but they
Right.
do. But I think Oklahoma State has better weapons.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I'm also leaning towards Oklahoma State on this one. I'm going 31-28.
31-28. Okay, so it's going to
Yeah.
be a close one.
I think it's going to be close.
I think it'll be close too. I think it'll be 35-28, and then OK State will get a touchdown with like less
Some
than 4
garbage
minutes.
time, yeah.
Less than 4 minutes.
and
left.
I could see that scenario very easily.
So all right, so we both have Texas losing. It's going to be a tough one, but
Yeah.
this is definitely a game that they can win. It's just
Yeah.
for me, I
And-
just don't think they can stop that
Well,
defense
and
or
for
that
this-
offense, and I don't think
Yeah.
Texas can keep up offensively.
And for this team, if they can split between the Oklahoma teams, instead of going 0-2, at least going 1-1, you're back to above 500 at 4-3. I mean, if they pull it off, it's definitely a good win for them. But yeah, it's going to be a tough one for sure.
Definitely going to be a tough one. All right, time for Longhorns in the NFL. First, we've got a big week from your favorite Longhorn, Kenny Vaccaro, with the New Orleans Saints. He had a touchdown.
Yeah, touchdown. What was it, off of a fumble, if I remember right?
I believe so, a touchdown. So, yeah, a touchdown against the Lions, 3 pass breakups, and an interception.
Yeah,
So he had a great game.
He and that Saints defense are starting to ball. Maybe
Maybe it's Kenny Vaccaro leading the charge, man.
whatever it takes to get Houdat back on the map, I'm happy.
All right, and then another big week, Malcolm Brown, the big one.
The big one.
The big one for the Patriots, defensive tackle Malcolm Brown. 4 tackles, 1 sack, and 2 tackles for loss against the Jets in a win for the Patriots. And then the last guy who we all like a lot, Deontay Foreman, 12 rushes for 59 yards against the Browns. It's against the Browns, but he's slowly becoming. I believe he has like one of the highest yards per rush in the NFL. He's been really, really good. He's got Lamar Miller ahead of him right now. And once Lamar Miller's gone, it's Deontay's team.
Yeah, it's basically like anywhere Lamar Miller goes, whether it's been in Houston or Miami. Lamar does a few things for a little while, and then he finally fades off until they get somebody else in there, like the Dolphins with Jay Ajayi right now.
Exactly. So Deontay's, I think his future is super bright in the NFL.
Yeah.
All right, time for Big 12 predictions. All right, Matt, we got a lot of good games in the Big 12 this week. Iowa State at Texas Tech. Tech is favored by 6. Who do you got with the spread?
I'm gonna go Tech, and I'm gonna go
Really?
over the spread.
Really? I'm going Iowa State with the spread.
Wow.
So I think Iowa State wins. They just have to win. Yeah.
Right.
I think they'll win. I think they'll beat Texas Tech. I think Iowa State's a good team. Texas caught Iowa State on a bad week. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, I think they are a good team, but I mean, this is one of those times. I think Tech's offense has the advantage here.
Okay. And we got Oklahoma at Kansas State. Another good game. Kansas State is the 13.5-point underdog. With the spread, who you take?
I'm taking Oklahoma, and I'm going to say over. They usually go up to Manhattan and usually
Wreck
go
shop.
up there. They usually wreck shop at least 20 points or more.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Oklahoma's gonna have a day. I think they were able to come back against Texas and win that game. But I think the offense is due for an explosion.
Yeah.
All right, Kansas at TCU. This is actually a really, really tough one. TCU is favored by 37.5. So I don't know. That's tough.
Yeah, see, so I know the audience can't see it, but I'm going to throw my pencil up because, the sky's the limit. TCU way over.
TCU, wow. So you think they're going to win by at least 38 points?
They're going to wreck shop. I mean, there have been a couple of times recently where they barely squeaked by Kansas, and this just – I don't know how Kansas can manage to stop this TCU offense, and especially, a storyline to keep up going forward. Kenny Hill at this point, 6-0. The last time he did that, He started choking in A&M.
So this is the week that it happens. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying this is the week that happens, but if he's talking about this narrative of I'm not Kenny Thrill and I've changed, they're going to start playing the hurt on some people here.
All right, I'm going to go with Kansas. I don't think TCU wins by more than 38 points. I think they'll win by 35, but I think they'll Kansas will score some garbage time touchdown with all the walk-ons on and on the field. So I think Kansas loses by at least just 35. All right, last Big 12 game of the week. Another good one. Actually, not really. West Virginia at Baylor. Baylor's only an 8.5-point underdog.
That surprises me a little bit.
Yeah.
But
At McLean Stadium. I don't know. I'm rolling with West Virginia. I
Yeah.
think they win by 15.
yeah, I'm also rolling with West Virginia. I think that's at least 10 points. I don't see it getting single. I mean, if it does get in single digits, it's 9 or something like that. I don't see it being less than a touchdown.
Yeah, I agree. All right, that's it for Big 12 predictions. And all right, before we go, Matt, last thing. The Red River Showdown was this past weekend. Great game, one of the best environments in all of the sports. You see the OU Crimson on one side of the field, the burnt orange on the other, in terms of the fan base, both on the
Right.
sidelines, but in the fan bases too. I mean, it's an incredible environment. But for you, what's the best environment in all of sports?
Oh. Well, I still haven't been yet, but I still want to. I mean, Miami, Florida State has to be up there.
Oh, yeah, that would be a good one.
I mean, just the South Florida rivalry between both squads. You get the tomahawk going. You get the U and the smoke.
That'd be sweet. I would love to go to a game there.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going to go to the hardwood. I'm going to go Duke versus North Carolina at Cameron Indoor.
Oh.
Would love to go to a game there. That would be awesome. That's on my bucket list. That's one of the things on my bucket list. Go to a game at Cameron Indoor. A Duke North Carolina game.
Yeah,
that would
for
be
sure.
something special.
After having spent my summer in North Carolina, how did I forget that answer?
Yeah, I know, man. I thought that's what you were going to go with.
No, I was still thinking the good old 100 yards.
All right, that's it for show number 4.
Show number 4.
Show number 4.
Okay.
That's it. You can follow us on Twitter at Mark Skoll Jr., at MatthewAdams60. Forgot to do this plug at the beginning of the show, so we're going to lose some followers for that one. But Oklahoma State versus Texas this weekend at DKR at 11 should be a good one. Should be close, and it should be fun. All right, thanks for tuning in to the Bevo Blitz. Till next time.